Hi everyone, I'm Ken from Crypto Trading KS. Let's run the numbers. Bitcoin up 0.04% to 61,075. Ethereum down 0.62% to 40.59. My goal is to assist you to be more of a financial blessing to yourself and those you love, and also gain real wealth in the process. I've hidden knowledge gems throughout this video. Unless you watch to the end, you'll miss them. See how many you can find. Rule 774. Master yourself to master the market. Mastering yourself is all about knowing how worthy and unique you are. You deserve kindness, love, meaning, and every success in life. Those successes in life include inner and outer peace, fulfillment and meaning, empathy and love, purpose and fearlessness, as well as money. Rule 138. All investors become traders. Investors have a specific mindset. They look long term. If we look at the Bitcoin stock to flow model and we project it forward as Fidelity Investments did, we can see the estimated price per Bitcoin around 2026 will equal around $1 million. And then about 4 years later, in 2030 onwards, about 10 million. The crypto industry is just getting started. It's got enormous potential, and that is what calls investors to the market. Having an investor's mindset is incredibly important in crypto. Now the problem is how investors are called into the market. Investors typically buy when everybody else is buying, and they sell at the bottom. So buying at the top, selling at the bottom. Many investors can attest to this. They're called in through the media, and that's fair. To gain entry to a market, you've got to be aware of it. People learn over time that the trading mindset is really important. What traders do is something completely different to investors. Traders seek to find the start of a trend and ride it up as far as they can go. When the trend is changing, traders seek to sell that. They seek to get back in when the trend changes, and then they can rinse and repeat this process. This is where Rule 133 comes in handy. Combined strengths of investors and traders. So if you think about it, combining the long-term hold perspective of an investor, the research of an investor, and the speed and different thinking of a trader is absolutely the ultimate in any market. I'd like to thank Nick, Tales from the Man Cave, for this fantastic video. This is all about what we do inside our community. We gobble up those long tail rejections. We're looking for them. We catch falling knives. This is the ultimate way to dollar cost average in to any particular position. And if you're an investor, this is the single best way to buy. We're really early in the crypto adoption cycle. In fact, less than 1% of the population has an active Bitcoin address, and less than 3% of the population actually holds Bitcoin. We've got a long way to go. It's literally Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies represent the next evolution of the internet to the internet of value. It's got a long way to run. If we have a look at Bitcoin treasuries, we can see the number or percent of the 21 million fixed supply of Bitcoin when it is mined. That's quite a few years away, but a lot of the circulating supply is already out. We can see the percentage of the 21 million is about 3.9% for ETFs, about 1.2% for countries, a little over 1% for public companies, and under 1% for private companies. We're seeing that there's only 7% of the Bitcoin out there that are held between these four buckets. The rest is in the hands of the community. Let's just look at the countries. We can see that there's only 4 countries that have put Bitcoin on their balance sheet, so to speak. Can you imagine when we have wide-scale adoption? That is coming. When we look at investment substitutability and we look at the incredible returns of Bitcoin, It's really important to know that we're just really early in the phase. This thing has not even got started yet. When we look at the S&P 500, the proxy for stocks, it's up 33%. Poor old gold, down 6% for the past 12 months. And for the past year, Bitcoin is up 368%. If we have a look at the article that I wrote on Medium, now do I still hold by this conviction? Absolutely. 486,000 by May 25th, 2022. Now I want to take you in to a specific graph here, just to help you to understand how all of this comes together. When we look at the technological adoption curve, we're basically here in terms of the comparison between adoption of the internet way back in 1997 and the adoption of crypto. We're incredibly early, and this has a very special memory for me. Back in around 1993, I actually founded an internet service provider, or ISP, in Australia. That was the dawn of the internet. People were basically coming off bulletin board systems, and the modems were so slow, it's just incredible. And before the Netscape browser was introduced, talk about the dark days. The telecommunications companies and postal corporations all around the world saw the threat of the internet, especially email, and tried to kill it off. As you know, they didn't do very well. The same thing is happening with crypto. All the talk about legislation, the roadblocks, this is all completely normal stuff. I've seen it before with the internet. We're seeing it again with crypto. Nothing that governments do throughout the world will stop crypto. Once a brilliant invention is out of the box, it can't be put back in, no matter what they try and do. It's just the fact of innovation and invention. When we look at Bitcoin, which is basically the cornerstone of the crypto market, we need to bear all these factors in mind. Crypto cannot be stopped, but it can definitely wobble around quite a lot. It's a very volatile asset class. It doesn't just go only in an upwards direction. It can have very large retracements. Now, what we see on the horizon, there are a couple of storm clouds, but those storm clouds just represent really good buying opportunities. We can think of Evergrande. Evergrande has a lot of potential potholes to overcome, and it's unlikely that it will. Now, that is fantastic news for crypto, because as people get scared, we'll be stepping in to buy their Bitcoin and other cryptos. We know the long-term perspective from an investor's mindset. That's the thing to keep your mind on. Also, the FOMC meeting on November the 3rd, they could introduce tapering. We said about a month ago that the tapering was on the cards, and nothing has changed. This is just the nature of markets. Also, Mt. Gox, the release of nearly 150,000 Bitcoin on November the 20th. The debt ceiling on December the 3rd, and the Ripple case January 14, approximately. There's no real tight deadlines on the Ripple case. It gets dragged out all the time. But the key is, these are fantastic buying opportunities. This is how I look at those. Looking at Bitcoin's technicals, we can see Bitcoin has overcome this first level of resistance. It's bounced really nicely from this 59,394 mark, and it found support. It's just getting through the first level of resistance here at 60,938, making its way up to the next level of resistance that will play in at about 61,637. Then it's got a higher level of resistance that it needs to get through when Bitcoin is trading at around the 62,455 mark. That will give us a fairly good indication that things are getting better for Bitcoin and it's on the upward trajectory. But there are still a couple of issues that we need to be aware of. Bitcoin is a highly volatile asset class. It can dip down and it can dip up by great degrees. Always be aware of the risks. Have an upside and a downside risk strategy in play. Know what you're doing. Know if you're simply going to add more or you're just going to hold, or if you're trading, you might take profit or you might close a position. But they are all decisions to make based on how you actually are present in the market. There is always the possibility of long tail rejections. So I would suggest that in your 10-5-10 fund, which is just purely a volatility fund, having money around the 52,658 mark and the 54,135 mark is very good idea. Also 56,909 could be an excellent path, and clustered around the $50,000 mark is also a really good idea for your 10-5-10 volatility fund. We talk a lot about 10-5-10 inside our community. The concept, if you buy something at $10 and it goes to $5, you just lost 50%. But if it goes from $5 up to 10, you just made 100%. That's why you always want to lower your average buy price. The 10-5-10 fund doesn't say you must get a 50% reduction. It's not for that reason. It's a conceptual fund, a volatility fund, trying to take out these levels of lower support. Going back to the 2016 bull run, that's the bull run of the last halving cycle, we saw massive increases in price, followed by 20%, 40%, 30% reductions. It's with crypto, you really never miss out. If you know how to trade, you can slurp up these lower average buy-in prices. You're not seeking to get the bottom, but you are seeking to be really intelligent with what you do with your money. It's not greedy to look after yourself and to be more of a financial blessing to yourself and those you love. In fact, it's the goal. This is why traders and investors must make in advance probabilistic choices. You have to know which way you're going depending on what happens. Have your strategy in play before the event, and always expect that crypto is so volatile. Expect the best and worst case scenarios. Reality is likely between them. Ethereum is currently trading at 47.7. It's respected this upward support line quite well. There was a degree of weakness here and it's managed to repair, but it's coming into overhead resistance. Because it's coming into overhead resistance, we need to keep our eye on it to see what it does. Maybe it's just bumping into this resistance and will continue down. If it does, what is your strategy? What is your upside and downside strategy? We can see also that in Ethereum, it has incredible support at 36.49, 35.90 and 33.19. These are all good levels for your 10-5-10 fund. When looking at the top cryptos on Binance, we can see the graph GRT has decided to take off. Go graph. Solana is seeking to catch up. MATIC is bouncing. DOT is also bouncing. VET and ETH and BNB, Link, FTT and DOGE. Now what do we notice about Bitcoin? Bitcoin's gravity is pushing all the alts up. This is what happens. No alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity. Some alts can escape it temporarily, of course, but then they tend to be violently pulled back. And what we see many times, if an alt is underperforming Bitcoin when Bitcoin is going up, that alt will snap back to Bitcoin's price, in the sense that it snaps back to the relative percentage movement. Knowing and understanding Bitcoin's gravity is really important. That's why we have Rule 45, no alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity. You can see this especially in sell-offs. When Bitcoin sells off, no alt is going to escape that gravity. It's especially true when Bitcoin rallies as well. No alt can escape that gravity either. Sometimes it doesn't happen instantaneously, but it will happen. If you're new to our community, I'd like to extend a very warm thank you and welcome, of course. I want to explain what this horizontal blue dotted line is. This is Bitcoin. We can see when Bitcoin sold off wildly, Bitcoin's gravity played out across the alts. Now we're seeing what is happening with this gravitational pull. When we analyze alts in this way, what we're after is to identify early breakout signals. We're literally doing this. We're trying to find any alt that we can get into. Now, this is a very, very powerful way to go. Normal investing seeks to buy when there's so much certainty that the price is going up. The more certain you are, the more certain it is the market will penalize you for that. Traders thrive in uncertainty. They don't deal with uncertainty, they just embrace probability, but they look at uncertainty as their friend, and it can be your friend, definitely. All it takes is the right tools and skills and knowledge. We're going to look through quite a few of these alts to gain the most comprehensive insight into the market, the crypto market, available on YouTube. Now, what we see here is Bitcoin is above the sell-off line. We compare that to Ethereum. We see Ethereum is almost back to that sell-off line, just a little bit above. Binance coin is below, but we can see a level of support here coming through. Cardano is very much below the line, but what do we know about Bitcoin's gravity? Sooner or later, ADA will party. This is one to keep our eye on, especially ADA. For example, this long basing activity here that we see, we're waiting for ADA to break out. Literally, ADA is in this particular process at the moment. We're looking for this. That will trigger our interest to get in. We can see XRP is below the previous sell-off in Bitcoin. It's under resistance and under resistance here. Solana is doing really well. It's got a lot of positive air. It's so strong that it hasn't even come back to retest this upward support. It's also hovering around the previous sell-off in Bitcoin, much like ETH. DOGE is under resistance, but looking good. Look at this positive air through here. It's looking fantastic. DOT is above the previous sell-off in Bitcoin, above this once resistance line, now support, and another support. It's got a cradle in here. That's looking fantastic as well. What I'll do when we've finished all of this analysis, I'll ask you to pick just 3 alts that you think are the best and why you think they're the best. So it's good to ask the question right up front. You can see that there's many different ways to enter the market depending on your focus. There's so much profitability inside the crypto market. It moves so fast. It's just beautiful. Turning to the next date, we can see Algo is above the Bitcoin sell-off. Look at the power of Algo. Also, it's above support and it's appearing to get towards a breakout phase. It's got a lot of upward support here, and look at all this positive air. Positive air simply means that the price is so far away from a support line that we need to draw another support line in to show it. Looking at SHIB is very spiky at the moment. It's certainly rallying up. As one of our value community members said, we really need to keep our eyes on decimal points when it comes to things like SHIB. 3762 is very different from 1400, for example. That's why we always use, as traders with that trading mindset, the exact decimal points that we can use. We can see Luna at 41.27. It's above the Bitcoin sell-off. It has very nice support upwards, and it's just taking its time to consolidate. This is one to watch. Uni is starting to get there, but it has a degree of resistance that it's under. It's close to support. It hasn't violated it yet. It's close to it. And that Bitcoin sell-off, it's just under that at the moment. Remember, our goal is to identify only 3 alts. You don't want to spread yourself too thin. You want to concentrate your financial firepower. Looking at AVAX, AVAX currently trading at 64.28 is above this 48.17 mark. It's looking quite good, and we can see upward support. We can see another level of support. We can see another level of support. Ooh, AVAX. I think AVAX is set to party. Let's have a look at Chainlink. Chainlink is below the previous Bitcoin sell-off and is seeking to gain a level of support at the moment. Litecoin, we can see Litecoin is under that Bitcoin sell-off, and it has got a lot of strength. There's a lot of positive air in here above these support lines. Bitcoin Cash below the Bitcoin sell-off and making its way up, but showing a little bit of weakness at the moment. There's a lot of support below. Having a look at the next date, XLM, Stellar, is doing a stellar performance. Oh, so many puns with Stellar. Stellar's just below the line and making its way up strongly. Let's see how Stellar goes. MATIC is below the line, but very nice upward price action. It's also finding a level of support and 2 levels of support below it. Let's have a look at Cosmos. Atom. Atom is seeking to get above this once resistance and turn it into support. It has a very good upward support line here too. Cosmos, Atom could be one to watch. Filecoin. Filecoin is still under resistance. It's really interesting that Filecoin and ADA are sort of exhibiting very similar price action. Not identical, of course, but they're both under resistance. Filecoin is weaker than ADA. ADA is much stronger, but that under resistance level is really, really interesting to watch, especially when it starts to repair and starts to party. We love it when tokens party. Token party. ICP is just sort of not looking very good at all. It's basically got a level of support that it's just broken under. It is under resistance as well, kind of like Filecoin. When we look at Axie Infinity, Axie Infinity has had a just monstrous run up. It is in the consolidation phase at the moment. Axie is a very well respected project, and we've seen incredible price action out of Axie. FTT token, or FTX, FTT is finding a level of support, and we can see it's got good positive price action even though it's below the previous sell-off. Tron has a degree of support here. It's got a bit of a wobbling around, but in the crypto market we understand that there's so much volatility. Having a look at the next date, all of this is about giving you an unparalleled look into the engine health of crypto. You will know much, much more than literally anyone else. When you see a particular token, you'll know what it's doing and what it's been doing over the past days. Ethereum Classic is below the line and also starting to get out of that resistance, turn it to support. It's cradling in here. That could be a very good sign. Phantom, FTM. We can see Phantom has been on a rampage. The Phantom is rampaging. It's actually finding now a level of support against this once resistance. Now, how I draw these resistance lines, I look at all time periods, even to the weekly basis. So there's a lot of power in these particular lines. Looking at THETA, THETA is above this once resistance. It's at support, but when we look, it's a bit dodgy in terms of the up and down movement. We can expect variability here, but when we look at this support, it's looking quite good. For example, if I just draw a line up here, you can see how clearly THETA's potential price action is going to be supported by that line. Let's have a look at HBAR. HBAR has got a lot of support underneath it. This previous sell-off line is also a support line. That's looking really interesting. Remember, we only want to identify the top three. The top three high probability, high quality trades or investments, depending on what you're after. Tezos, XTZ. Tezos is coming back to a support level, and this is a very, very tight support level. Now, the tightness of this is because crypto is so incredibly volatile. It's best to draw to price action as close as we can. That doesn't mean Tezos is breaking down just yet, but there is some weakness in there. We'll probably get a little bit of a bounce from support here. Cake is still under resistance. Cake has a lot of potential. EGLD, Elron, go Elron. It's looking very nice. It's got above this once level of resistance and now support. It's actually come back for a retest and has so much positive air, it didn't even touch the line. It's ramping off. Now the next level of resistance, we will be at around the 315 mark, so just keep that one in mind. Monero. When we look at Monero, what we can see is it's getting above this resistance, seeking to turn it to support. It's looking quite good. And also, if we draw a line of support from here through there, we can see this positive air and positive air above. It's almost like it's getting ready to party. Looking at the next date, we can see EOS below the previous sell-off, but seeking to get above this resistance. It's looking quite healthy. Lots of positive air in here. Let's keep our eye on EOS. The graph, we saw the graph in the top 33. Look at this. The graph is partying. It's having a ball of a time. We can actually draw a support line up here, and we can see that the graph is really looking very, very, very nice. It's seeking to attack this previous sell-off line. AVE is below resistance currently, but making its way up. Look at Flow. Flow is currently under resistance. It's looking quite weak. As a trader, we are always looking to get into strength and ride a strong trend. This is a really important thing to keep in mind. Clayton, we can see that previous Bitcoin sell-off. We're seeing a lot of consolidation through here. This long tail rejection upwards means that there's a lot of selling pressure down. This is explaining this particular consolidation phase. But if you think about Clay, went from $1 up to about the $1.70 mark. It's just really digesting that gain. This is something that plays out in the charts all the time. IOTA or MIOTA, we can see that it's getting above this once resistance, turning it to support. There's a lot of support through here. I think IOTA may be one to watch. Remember, you're only after three, the top three, and try to think about how your thought process is on what you're picking. And then we come back tomorrow with that top three and you can compare how it goes. Looking at Quant is doing well. It has, just exactly like Clay, it has this really big ramp up in price and then a consolidation. Ramp and consolidation is normal in every market, especially crypto. Now, what are we seeing here? We're seeing the Quant is getting above this resistance line and is just close to going for it, but we'll have to keep our eye on it. It is a very strong project. KSM, just below the line, and making its way up. Will be interesting. Let's have a look at the next date. Our focus is always just selecting three, no more than three, only the three best. NEO, We can see NEO is bypassing this once resistance and seeking to turn it to support. Interesting. Let's see how that one goes. Waves, very nice upward support just below resistance and below the previous sell-off. Positive momentum seeking to get above. Harmony 1. Look at Harmony, it's just fantastic. A lot of support underneath. Look at all this positive air in here. That's showing you a lot of strength. That's what you want to get into. When you invest or trade, you always want to go for strength. Strength and quality. We can see this upward support line. Very nice. Wow. Harmony is in harmony with the market. Stacks is getting above this once resistance line, turning it to support. Will be very interesting what Stacks does. We can see Maker is below resistance. It's really consolidating, trying to turn around this downward momentum, trying to consolidate it out, trying to shake it off. Look at Rune. Rune has definitely partied. We can see Rune doing very, very well, encountering resistance at that previous sell-off. That's a very sharp spike up, and we can see from Rune's past behavior, sharp spikes go up and down. Just be aware of that. There's always room to enter on these trades by layering your buy positions if you are interested in Rune. We can look at BitTorrent. What is happening here? What is happening here with BitTorrent? Just kidding. We can see that there's a level of resistance being turned into support. It's not out of the woods yet, but it's getting there. And what about HNT? HNT is very similar to BitTorrent, isn't it? It's below this resistance for a while, just getting above it. And this is a little bit weaker than BitTorrent. You always want to look across the different charts and gain a perspective of how different tokens are similar in price action to each other. Of course, they're never identical, but it's really good to see. For example, BTT, BitTorrent, compared to NEO, do you notice any similarities between this one and this one? There are quite a few, aren't there? Let's have a look at our community favorites. Veracity VRA. Wow, VRA is just a rock star. Look at this, it's so much power in here. We can see it's coming up to a level of resistance. We would expect a little bit of a wobble and then to get above that if that positive momentum keeps going. Icon, also a fantastic project. Icon has got a lot of support below and it's seeking to gain access to the air above resistance, trying to turn this resistance into support. Go Icon. OMG has a lot of support that will actually help its current price as it goes down to that support. We're also seeing a consolidation. You know that these big upticks require consolidation. To be healthy, if they get too overextended, they can absolutely plummet. We always want to see a degree of consolidation after a big move. It makes it safer. We always want to move the probabilities into our favor, not against it. Ravencoin, RVN. We can see Ravencoin. Price is coming back to a level of support, and we've got support down here and support up here. Looking at so many charts every day, you'll gain a real incredible feel on the market that just won't be present otherwise. It's a really good thing to do. We can see Cody is getting above this particular resistance, and it has another support line here, another support line coming down in through here at 46.75. We would expect that price would hit this support line and seek to get above 51.52. All in all, it looks quite good. We're seeing the same kind of behavior, aren't we? This ramping up here, like this ramping up in OMG, and consolidation. Generally, we have a bit of a shakeout that shakes the weekends out, and then these things tend to take off. That's why you've got to be careful about technical analysis. Being in the markets for so many decades, I understand technical shakeouts. They happen all the time. CTSI, Cartesi did a lot of partying and has come back. This is why we always seek to enter our positions through buying in layers. We literally never miss out in crypto because crypto is so incredibly volatile. Volatile just means it can go up and down by banana levels just each day or each week. It's just the nature of crypto. That's why you can often hold and things will repair themselves. YFI is just below resistance, but this is not a resistance level we would say is majorly important. It's just consolidating after a price move up. We can see that across so many of these cryptos. Just keep that in mind. Veracity, you can see the power of Veracity now. It's actually consolidating in an upwards direction. That's impressive. What about CRV? CRV is looking quite good. Look at all this positive air here, and it's done a breakout. What do we know about these breakouts? That's where we dollar cost average in, layer buy. We literally put our limit orders on the exchange and have them wait to get filled. Now what you want to do is just pick three. There are so many opportunities in the market every single day. Bull market, bear market, doesn't matter. They're there always. Just have a look at what you think are the top three. And of course, do your journal, really. Do your entry. Say, okay, why do I think this is good? And then have a look the next day. Let's have a quick look at the main market. The S&P 500 Volatility Index, the VIX, is on its way down. This is showing fear is leaving the market. This is a really good sign, especially with the Evergrande crisis around, potentially going to play out over the next couple of weeks or months. We can see the US dollar currency index, the DXY, came down, bounced from support, but showing weakness again. Now, what is this about? I'll just show you comparatively. When we look at the NASDAQ was coming down. Look at what happens to the DXY when the NASDAQ comes down. NASDAQ comes down, dollar is going up. You can see that. Dollar is going up, dollar is going up, dollar is going up. And then the NASDAQ says, hang on a second, I want to go back up. What is the dollar doing? The dollar is coming down. Do we have more proof of that? Let's look at this particular area here. Dollar is coming down as the NASDAQ goes up. That's why this particular action is so powerful to do, this cross-comparative analysis. We can see Bitcoin has come up and just retracing, there's a lot of support here. If we lose this support, we would expect to go down to around this support, around the $55,000 mark. If that happens, and if it happens, wow, bring it on. Cheaper Bitcoin, yes, thank you very much. And we know that the phase of the market cycle is just on our side. The bond prices are going down. The yields are coming up. Gold is repairing. Good on you, gold. Oh, make Peter Schiff happy for once. Like crude oil futures are on the uptake. In case you're new to the channel, Peter Schiff is a long-time gold advocate and he's got very polarized views about crypto, and that's okay. I used to trade gold. I understand where Peter's coming from. If you're interested in the upcoming Trading Crypto Masterclass, all you need to do to reach out is go to, for example, episode 297 or 298. In the description, just click the show more, and then you've got a link to Twitter. You just click on that and you can direct message me here. And you just notice August 2018 is when I started this Twitter. I've got about 8,000 followers. There's a lot of scammers that play on Twitter, so I provided the link for you in the description of the video. And then if you would like to just reach out and just let me know if you're interested in the masterclass, and I can put you on the special discount list. You can also message me through Facebook. If you go through this path, please just drop me a private message, and you can also go through the buymeacoffee.com/cryptotradingks link. All these links are provided in the description of the video for you. I'd like to thank all the community members who reached out to me and expressed interest in the upcoming masterclass. If for some reason I haven't got back to you and it's been more than a day or more than a day and a half, please just give me a gentle nudge. There were so many messages coming in from so many directions that I may have missed a couple of people. If I have, I'm really sorry about that. Please just reach out and just give me a nudge, and I'll certainly get back to you with the details. My preference is if you could do it through Twitter, that would be fantastic. And a lot of people have never used Twitter, and they've got on and actually sent me a message. To those people, thank you so much. That's fantastic. I'd like to thank all the very generous community members who reached out and showed their appreciation by buying me a coffee on buymeacoffee.com/cryptotradingks. Thank you so much, everyone. I'd especially like to say thank you to Art. Art went through some health problems a while ago. I hope you're well, Art. Art left a very nice message on buymeacoffee.com. He said that I was faced with adversity from a young age, which uniquely qualified me to teach what real wealth is all about. And it's what has kept Art, real wealth, has kept him in the game. That's really beautiful. I think a very nice concept and way to live a life is to try to make a positive difference in other people's lives. Thank you, Art, for your very beautiful words, and I hope you're feeling better. As we progress through life, it's important to understand that we cannot avoid suffering. Suffering either enslaves you or you release it to be free. Suffering can tend to lock us in a cage of our own making. It is not fair when bad things happen. It's not fair at all. The only way to stop that bad thing from coming at you again and again and again is to literally just forget about it and move on. This is not an easy thing to do, and I don't say it flippantly, of course. We all have struggles in our lives. A bad day doesn't make a bad life. There are so many beautiful things that we can focus on. We can focus on all the good that is in the world. We can also focus on being of service to others and helping others. That is a really nice way to live as well. As we discussed in the previous episode on opportunity, opportunities are everywhere and they reset every day. We don't need to be locked in a cage of our own making. We can simply say, open the door and walk out and be free. One powerful way to walk out of that cage of suffering is to know deep in your heart that you're worthy and unique. You deserve kindness, love, meaning, and every success in life. This is a really important thing to bring with you whenever you invest or trade. That feeling of worthiness, if you don't feel it, you can self-sabotage. These words are really important to make part of your life. You're here. You deserve success. That's it. It's as simple as that. It's a very simple equation. I hope you found the content useful. Please consider sharing and liking this video if you think it will help others. Thank you very much to our moderators for keeping our community safe from scammers. Please say hi and let me know where you're viewing from and if you have any questions. If you would like daily updates on price movements in the crypto market, please subscribe to YouTube. I've left helpful links in the description of this video. Please remember, crypto is volatile. Always prepare yourself for the best and worst case scenarios. Reality will likely be between them. Stay safe out there. Take care and see you next time. Bye for now.